not sure if hello everybody is captured or not. I don't know how long after I say I want to go live, it actually goes live. Everybody right now. I'm gonna get plugged in, man. So yeah, I'm doing a stream right now. Both so that way everybody can enjoy, but also I'm testing things out. Got a new audio setup right now. Not on my end, like how you're hearing me right now is both through a different. Well, it's different than what I normally would use, which would be my Turtle Beaches, and the reason why I'm not using those is because they broke.
I have tracking on the bond.
The charging port
They're the
for
ones
those
leading
broke.
the assault on the power
So,
core. Marking the coordinates now.
Because the charging port broke, I contacted them and said, you know, hey, I bought this, or got this headset about 1.5 years ago. I'm not sure what your warranty period is, or whether this is covered or not, but this is the problem. And I've been having an issue with the charging port since day one. But considering everybody else in my group of friends had the same headset as me, and we all had the same problem, I figured it was just, you know, normal for those headsets. But for me, it eventually just got to the point, like the issue was you plug in your headset to charge, and then you have to wiggle it around to get it to actually function. And then anytime, like depending on which angle the angle the actual headset would sit, or the charging cable would sit in the headset, it would come on and come off, and it wouldn't stay charging. I tried using different cords and stuff, and nothing seemed to fix it, so I ended up just dealing with it until one day it just wouldn't work anymore. So now I'm just basically using a pair of headphones plugged in my controller. But I actually got a pair of high quality computer speakers and set it up so that way I can plug it in the back of my TV. And then now I've got sort of a surround sound type experience where the explosions have more bass and more depth, and everything's just a lot more clearer and crisp than it is coming out of the back of the TV. And usually when I'm playing the game by myself, I won't have the headset plugged in, and then the sound would come out of the TV.
They brought a tank to a gunfight.
But when I would plug in my headset to the controller, it would of course take priority, and I had it set so that way all game audio, like all audio, whether it's chat audio or game audio, came through the headset. So that was my setup until recently. When I came into this quality speakers with the subwoofer, and I figured, hey, let's try it. Now, it's been sounding fucking great, but my testing now is if I'm in a party, I know my mic will pick it up a little bit, but I don't know how it will sound streaming, so it's pretty much a test. I'm going to stream for about an hour or something like that. Strikes and distance. We're going to see how the audio sounds. So I've got it right now on a spot where I can hear it. The only part that's a little bit louder than probably at the moment is so we're sort of trying to test it out. I'm going to test it. Right now I've got the game volume set to Destiny. I've got the volume volume to Destiny to whatever the next option is down to 100%. And I'm gonna go until I can hear it, but it's not like I can use it now. And then I'm gonna go basically a baseline, how sensitive everything is to spit up and run it even, because I might actually have to go back to the machine and all the audio coming out, in which case it probably just having this in-ear bullshit. It's decent for listening to music when you're doing a jog or walking or whatever. But sitting on my couch like a lazy fuck for 2.5 hours, 8 hours, depending on what I'm doing. It's not very comfortable. It's not very comfortable to have other kids. Good thing that I have to be able to do this, otherwise I wouldn't have my life. But unfortunately, it's still not the most comfortable.
That went well. Let's head to the bridge. See if we can reacquire the brothers.
I can't tell you the number of scouts I've lost to these brothers on Mars. They need to be stopped. Go careful.
Oh, there's no fucking ammo there? Fuck you, dude. That nature sort of helped me make everything work better for both streaming and YouTube videos as well as just personal solo gameplay when I'm, because there's always going to be times where I'm just playing and dicking around because I don't do YouTube professionally as much as it would be nice to do it. I realized quickly that, hey, as much as it's a good, it's a good dream, it's a good thing to strive for. I realized quickly that
Taken and
the amount of
Cabal
time
fighting
I
for
put
the
in
bridge. Wherever the brothers
over the
are,
last
they
3
aren't
years,
here. Let's keep moving.
Or 4 years, I don't even remember. I don't even know how long I've been doing this for now. That's how fucking pathetic I am as a YouTuber. But, normally if people are putting in decent work and work ethic, if they're a channel that's 3 years old and they're making, content that people want to see with, playing games like Destiny or new games that come out, like when I was doing live streams of the Battlefield 1 beta and things like that, those were getting decent views. So clearly I was making content that was interesting to people. The issue is content, not the greatest content to begin with, shitty other Ooh, right shoulder. And even on my good games are still pretty average compared to other people.
So, the Bond brothers may not even know the Primus was taken.
And not only that,
this whole thing could be a
I
power
really
play
didn't
that
upload on a
Commander
regular
back. That's
schedule.
the
I could go
whole, the Empire
2-3 months without even uploading a video on a live stream. And so I've pretty much come to the realization that the likelihood of this channel ever getting to a point in which I could make a living off of it is slim to none. But regardless of whether I can make money on it, it's a good weekend hobby or whatever. I mean, my hope was that I would have been working right now. It's like it's
you get 3 guesses.
Here in Canada, we just get summer holidays. So my goal was actually to have gotten a job at my co-op placement.
There are munitions hooked up to each structural weakness on the
looking for an
core.
automotive apprentice.
Oh, the brothers are here! Take them out!
But because of the work I was doing, they were really happy with my work and my work ethic. So if they ever do at some point need a fucking apprentice, they said I'm the first guy they want to call. So that's always good to know that I'm, on the top side of this list. It's always a good thing to be at the top of the list. So until I'm at the top, hopefully about summer holidays here. I don't know, it's not possible to do that. There's no... That's impossible. We're gonna come out with one. hate it when people don't play through, but then again, we're not in a group. Hey, stay over here.
It's done. The Brotherhood is broken.
I just wish there was more
I hear that the
fucking
Cabal are big
variation.
on honor, but look at their actions, not their words.
These
You've put an end to war criminals,
fucking
butchers, and
strikes.
you've shown the Empire what the Vanguard's all
It's
about.
like it's like the same
Nice work.
3 to 4 strikes every fucking time. But yeah, whatever. Yeah, because it would have. That's funny.
The Vex have restarted their
Strong
world-eating
beast,
machine
yeah.
in a bid to restore their nexus. In time, Venus will be consumed.
And listen to this. Scouts report that the Vex have upgraded the Nexus mine with tech from the Vault of Glass.
Do you need something, Cade?
No, just here to support my favorite Guardian.
I'm sure. Let's take that Nexus mind apart.
Hold on.
Wow.
I'm reading massive numbers of Taken.
Hate looking
It's an
through
invasion.
fucking
Usually all you see
Snapchat,
out here is
man.
Vex.
Cade,
Close
Why are
family
you here?
friends
the truth.
up at the cottage right now.
Ikora, I'm hurt.
Her and her daughter.
I haven't seen you in the Guardian in a while, that's
all
all.
their
Let's get
family
these
up
taken.
there having fun, enjoying the long Canadian weekend.
Remember when the
Okay.
scholars said the Taken wouldn't be any trouble once we killed the king?
Like, it's only 2.5
Maybe they should grab a
hours
weapon and come
further
out here.
north than where I live.
Their
But
leadership has
just
filtered
that difference
downwards.
in,
Take out the captains, Guardian.
like, just being that much closer. Like, I don't know the exact distance between here and there. All I know is it's 2.5 hours. And I don't know what the average speed limit between here and there is. That will give me a better ratio. If I knew, like, okay, yeah, the average max speed there is like 60k. So then I can do 60 kilometers per hour So that would mean 2.5 hours would be 60, what, 60, I don't know what the other speed is. If I knew that. Anyway, so yeah, that, whatever the distance is, but it's not that much. It's not even, it's probably just to the base of northern Ontario. Southern Ontario and northern Ontario, and I think like they're either at the north, furthest north part of southern Ontario, or the furthest north part of northern Ontario. Yeah, it's beautiful place. They got a nice, beautiful lake, fishing in, swimming in.
Taken have been aimless since their king's demise. For them to concentrate their forces here means they understand the value of the Nexus mine.
If they've taken it, we can still blow it up.
It's nice and cool. Like the night is actually like a fall night. Like you think about early to like mid to late October kind of thing. That's usually you get those nights. At least near the border. Or roughly the temperatures you're getting every night there gets down to about like 9 or 10 degrees. There's fucking frost on the grass kind of thing. Like it gets nice and chilly, and then it gets up to about 25 degrees throughout the day, which is a little bit. I mean, like
I'm reading a massive barrier ahead.
If I had to pick a temperature, I would pick between 15 to 21 degrees would be my favorite temperatures to exist
Look,
in.
current situation aside, the Guardians have
I can
things
deal with
handled.
25,
Doesn't leave a
especially
lot
with
for the
that
Hunter
lake being there. You
Vanguard.
just walk down a path. And
If you're bored, the Warlock Halls could always use a once-over with a
it's
monk.
such a beautiful place, and
What was that? You're breaking up.
Supposed to do a story how she's at her family's, one of her family members' cottage. Because it's just like a whole park of cottages under the like trailers or cottage home type things on a lot, and their entire family has their own little cottage on various different lots. So they're over at one of those right now. Hot dogs, cooking up s'mores over a open fire. Travis up there, because it's the Canada Day long weekend. I don't think today's Canada Day, although I've seen all the buses with like some Canadian I am. I don't know. I'm gonna Google it. Fuck it. It probably is today, but I was under the impression that Canada Day was on like. Yeah, no, today's not. Yeah, so tomorrow's Canada Day. I had a feeling it wasn't the end of June, but yes. The beginning, the 1st of July, July 1st, Canada turns 150 years old. We would have officially been a country for 150 years. And out of those 150 years, I've been a part of those. I've been a part of 18 years. Soon to be 19.
That barrier would have taken considerable resources to power. I think they're scared.
Validate that fear, Guardian.
Going up there. And the weather and whatnot. It'd be so nice. Here it's like it's either hot and muggy, getting up to 30 degrees outside, or like the difference between here and there is when it's 20 degrees up there, it's not humid and muggy. When it's 20 degrees down here, I know it's hot, humid, and muggy. So, that's the big difference. Their 25 is a nicer 25 than our 25, even though they're both 25. And, yeah. That's basically...
My stomach drops whenever you make a jump like this. I don't even have a stomach. Funny how that works.
Upsets me, though. I'm here. What anything?
Looks like the Taken got to the Nexus mine first.
Doesn't change the plan.
Tonight I'm pretty much... everybody makes it. I pushed the shoot button last time I checked. Same button to use for a super, is it not? Oh yeah, okay, never mind. I did fucking... False spawn kids, I'm just fucking good. I don't think they know how to do it. There's a lot of people who are on the field but because they have played it.
I've got a legion of hunters to oversee, which is less fun than it sounds. I think they think I'm too hands-on.
Some of them just don't like you.
Wait, what?
You've done well, Guardian. For the time being, Venus continues to turn, despite our enemy's best efforts.
But it's lower. Does it look neat? What's it look like? Oh dear, it's a fucking loincloth. Female character? I mean, if I was a male Titan, that would be different, but I don't think a female Titan would wear a loincloth. I think she would wear a full dress. I mean, then again, it is 2017. I can't assume what my character would wear, although it is my character. Therefore, I can assume its own identity, as it is 2017 and I am its identity. I don't know where I'm going with this. I've offended everybody. Some of this whole political correctness shit is a little over the top for me. Like, these triggers that everybody need, like, oh, trigger warning, like, why didn't you tell me there was this? It's like the whole thing over 13 reasons why right now. It's so fucking dumb, man. The show is about suicide. And it's not here to glamorize suicide. It's not here to fucking, like, make light of the situation. It's here to show what
took right after you landed on
life is like. I mean, I've never seen the show.
Tried to stop you from killing the king.
So yeah, we'll go 180, then this is
so the Centurion's Bond brothers are pretty angry they lost their commander.
I think 50 would be the lowest I'd have to go, other than off, so let's
most of the system goes with it. You're gonna make sure that doesn't happen.
Anyway, I mean, I haven't seen 13 Reasons Why. To me, it's not my thing. I don't really care about these whole teen drama. But basically, the gist of the movie is that the series or whatever, based off of things I've read, things I've heard, and all the memes, is this person. There was this girl, I'm assuming she was in high school. I mean, I don't know if you watched the show. You know, was
Cade, why do you think they crashed their ship into the Dreadnought? Those are extreme tactics for the Cabal.
She came up with the decision.
The Vanguard intercepted a signal, a message from the Cabal from way outside the solar system. A direct order to crash the ship, use it as a beachhead, and take out the king.
This decision was due to bullying, was due to, you know, being made fun of, whatever it happened to be, whatever the things that were contributing to her
I have tracking on the bond treatment. They're the ones leading the assault on the power core. Marking the coordinates now.
Suffer from, you know, all of the things that come along with depression. Sometimes it can be anxiety, whether that be social or things of that nature. And you know, as somebody who's suffered with anxiety, somebody who suffers with depression, I know that usually both come hand in hand. Not always. I mean, everybody has their own things that bug them. Sometimes, you know, when you get anxious and you get depressed and you just get in a downward slump, sometimes it accumulates. So I guess I do know what it's like to have to deal with shit like that. But regardless of my story, her basic rendition of the whole thing is that, you know, because of all of these things, she doesn't feel like there's a reason to continue. She doesn't feel like anybody cares about her. Life would be better off without that. Which, if that's how you're feeling, I do want to say that is never the case. There are always people, regardless of how people treat you, there's always somebody out there who does like you.
A tank?
Whether they'd be
Why
a
would you bring a
friend
tank
or
to
more
space?
than a friend or whatever happens to be. You think of how many times you, whether you're male or female, have had a crush on someone. You didn't have balls to tell someone that someone never did, right? Just imagine how many times that happens to other people. If you're in a situation where you don't feel like anybody gives a shit about you, think of how many people could be, you know, be like, I really like this girl, I really like this guy. I don't have the guts to tell you. And for all you know, you could have hundreds of, you know, if you're a guy who's in this position, and, you know, you're thinking that maybe this is shit, there's bound to be at least one girl out there who likes you. There's bound to be at least somebody out there who does care for you. Because I don't think there's any way that one person can hate unless you, and I don't mean this as a joke, I mean, I guess I'm making it a joke,
brothers.
So I guess I shouldn't really say it.
I can't tell you
I mean,
the number of scouts
basically
I've lost
the point is like,
on Mars. They need
the
to
only,
be stopped.
no, because that's the thing, I can take my joke and actually make it legitimate, like, so what I was going to say in a joking manner is like, unless you're Adolf Hitler, there's bound to be somebody that likes you. But the sad reality is, there's still people out there who believe in what Hitler did. People who think Hitler was a great guy. People who, you know, think that Hitler was this wonderful person who didn't deserve to die, and all of these other things. And you look at it and it's like, what did he do to prove? I mean, yeah, he was the first person, I think, in history to ever create an anti-smoking campaign. Okay, good for Hitler. He was the first person to openly charge people with if they were committing animal abuse and was a vegetarian and, you know, great for, you know, all for animal rights kind of thing. And yeah, that's a good thing too, animal rights. But just because he may have been the first person to openly do that doesn't negate the fact of all of the horrible crimes against humanity that he committed. And yet there are still people out there that don't think he's a good guy just because of those other two things, but think he's a good guy because he tried to kill and exterminate them, because he tried to kill people with color. Like, that's something a lot of people don't realize. At one point before the World War started happening, and Berlin or Germany was hosting World War, or not World War I, they were hosting, and they were hosting World War I at the time, and Hitler was in power. They were hosting World War II. But what I'm trying to say is they were holding, they were the host for the Olympic Games before the war broke out. And at one point, a person of color, a black man, I believe it was, won a gold medal in an event. I can't remember exactly which event. And usually, like, if you're the person who's, you know, the leader of the country or whatever, during an award ceremony, you're usually present, maybe to congratulate the people or whatever. And for every other person that won an award that was white, he was there to stand, you know, stand in wherever the hell he was standing and congratulate them. And then you had the one guy of color who won gold, and during the awards ceremony,
something's wrong with this picture.
Hitler was nowhere to be seen.
You get 3 guesses.
And you know, it's just things like that people out there actually cheer on, that people actually think makes him a good person. And
there are munitions
if
up to
people
each
can find
weakness on the core.
if people like him after we all know what he did and, you know, his life story, why would people not be there? Why would people not like you? A person who is probably a good person, somebody who may have just had a rough patch in life, or maybe just, you know, whatever it happens to be, there's going to be people out there that like you no matter what. And if you are feeling like nobody does care and that you would be better off dead, believe me, that is not the case. You deserve to live. There are people out there who care. But back to my original point. This was basically about the whole situation that she came to, where she thought she was better off not living, and she ended up committing suicide. And one of the things she did before she ended her life was make 13 cassette tapes. Each of these cassette tapes was specifically for a certain person, and the point of these tapes was to where she would sit down, she would record herself talking on the cassette tape, and then drop it off, whether it be in the person, whoever was getting that tape, whether it be in their locker, put it in their backpack, and when she, you know, when she died, I guess somehow she either made it known through a note that she left on her person when she did commit suicide, or however it happens to be, and basically the people found out that there were these tapes that certain individuals were given, and people started finding these tapes, and people who needed to go to it, and basically the long and short of it is everybody found out, like the 13 people that she believes are responsible for her needing to kill herself, found out that they were the reason why, that they played a hand in her decision to kill herself. And a lot of people feel like this movie was this series was all about glorifying the act of suicide, about glorifying the decision to kill yourself. And people were saying that, you know, oh, kids are going to see this and think, oh, it's cool to kill yourself. And for starters, this show wasn't rated, you know, like PG-13. I know for a fact, something that has, you know, what was considered, you know, from what I've heard, there was scenes of this girl, you know, she was raped at one point, I believe, was one of the things that occurred to this girl. She gave the tape to the person who did that to her, and said, you know, this is, you're one of the reasons why I decided to do this, you know, and, you know, as shitty as that situation was for her, and, you know, things of that nature, there is no reason that would not have gotten would have gotten a PG-13 rating. And to me, I think the age group in which somebody would have to be to think, oh, cool, suicide is fun, or whatever it happens to be, they have to be quite young not to get the severity of what that act is actually. Well, fuck. You know, they'd have to be quite young to not understand the severity of those acts. Right? And I think that unless they had that rating that allowed people to watch that, you know, then, which it did, it didn't have, like, it even had a teen rating, and some of the episodes that actually had, like, very, very rough language, very rough teen rating, that things of that nature. I believe that each episode was rated differently. Because the scenes wasn't shooting for, you know, oh, let's strive for PG-13 for everything. They were just striving to basically make, to show people what goes through the mind of somebody who's thinking about doing this. And so each episode was basically rated differently than the next, because one episode could be, you know, an episode where it's like, okay, the language isn't that bad, the content isn't that bad, okay, we'll give it a rating of, you know, 17 or something like that. Or, you know, oh shit, it's kind of rough this time, we'll give it a rating of R. There's sexual content, drug use, things that, you know, to get that rating. But never, I believe, never were any episodes rated at PG-13. And as a parent, you know, well, not me being a parent, but if I was a parent, if I were, you know, had Netflix and I was letting my children use it, my first instinct would be to, you know, watch and see what was being watched, because I would know what I click on, right? So if I'm looking through recently started and I see 13 Reasons Why, and I look through it, I would make myself aware and try to keep myself up to date on what my kids are watching. Because, you know, if they're watching something like that and they're underage, you know, they don't need the rating for that, you know, then I would put a stop to it. Because, again, that's just called being a good parent. Another thing that happened is, that, you know, I would do, is talk to my kids and tell them that, you know, talk to them about the issue behind suicide, and, you know, bullying and things of that nature, and basically make it known to them the whole situation. And, you know, I would make it so that way, no matter what, whether they were old enough to watch it or not, that they knew the issues behind suicide, what causes people to want to commit suicide, you know, and all of the things, so that way they know that this is not some big, glamorous, and fun thing to do, that it's a serious thing, and that, you know, the amount of people that are affected by that decision and all of those things. And, you know, you have people like parents complaining about it, or like media sources complaining about it, or people who've never even seen it complaining about it. And it's like, you know, you're hopping on this bandwagon, basically. This TV show was is not intended to glamorize it. It's not intended for people under a certain age. And one of the things it says in the description on Netflix is that it's a, you know, it's a very heavy topic, you know, watch at your own risk kind of thing, like viewer discretion is advised. So if you're somebody who's dealt with depression or attempted suicide or whatever it happens to be, and, you know, something like this can, you know, make you relapse, or maybe make you consider, or you know that you're at vulnerability or at risk for something like that to happen, you know, like you're currently depressed and thinking about suicide, and, you know, I would not recommend watching it, and that's, you know, viewer discretion. But if
further underground
you know, proceed to then watch it
like a large-scale
after being warned of the content, like viewer discretion is advised. In the description it says, you know, a girl who committed suicide,
could be the end
13
of
Reasons Why, blah 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 blah.
Devils are
and, you know, you read through that, like,
them before this goes
nobody,
any further,
I think, would just. Well, then again, with how hyped it got, people were probably just typing 13 Reasons Why, and just watching it. And I think, no matter how hyped something is, always read what it is about before you watch it, because you never know how you're going to take it as you get through it. That's why things have ratings. That's why things are just have descriptions. That's why things are, you know, viewer discretion is advised.
Sounds like the place to be.
They are telling you, like, this can contain, this has.
And remember, target anything that moves.
That could upset you, that could bother you, and, you know, we've given you a warning. If you continue and then still get upset or still get hurt or are still bothered by what you've seen, we did give you that warning. And then you have people saying, you know, like, oh, well, you should put trigger warnings. Well, that's basically what viewer discretion is advised, saying, you know, if after reading the description, you feel like, you know, this topic is triggering. The topic of suicide is something
I'm picking
that
up several concentrated SIVA nodes ahead.
then you
Splicers are using
have been warned. You've been warned. I don't know why that's off. You've been warned. They've told you that this is what this is about. This is the situation. You know, watch at your own risk. And people were still watching. And then you hear the story of the parents whose family committed suicide, or whose two daughters, I believe they were twin daughters or something of that nature, who committed suicide, and they're attributing it to 13's Reasons Why. And again, one thing, you know, I watch Philip DeFranco and things like that. One of the things he said is, you know, he doesn't understand what kind of grief they're going through, and at the same time, I don't understand either. I don't know, you know, I don't know what it's like to have, you know, kids of my own, let alone 2 kids who are who have just committed suicide. And, you know, when they're trying to make sense of things, you know, as human beings, we end up liking to put blame on things, because, you know, why do we want to admit that it's our fault? Why do we, you know, how can we get closure without having a reason, right? It's like one of those things you see about, you know, people who die on plane crashes, and all their family wants to know is why. Is it what caused it? Was it a freak accident, like during landing, the front landing gear unflatched and caused an issue? Was it technicians who failed to identify an issue? Was it pilot error? Because without that information, it's impossible to get closure. Just, you know, if you get a letter in the mail saying, okay, this family member died in a plane crash. We're sorry about your loss. How would that, you know, well, first thing that would come to your mind is what? Why? How? Right? And those are logical things to be thinking, like, what happened? How did it happen? Why did it happen? What caused this to happen? Could it have been prevented? You know, things like this that you immediately ask, and until these questions are answered, it is next to impossible to get a full-size closure. And I believe the same thing to be true in this situation. This couple is probably, you know, bad spot. They don't know how to deal with, you know, the loss of 2 of their children. But at the same time, they blame this on 13's Reasons Why. Their situation is, you know, they basically say, okay, our kids watched 13 Reasons Why. We noticed they started to become depressed or whatever it happened to be. And then not long after they'd finished watching it, they continued to spiral deeper into a depression. And then, you know, next thing we know, they decided to kill themselves. And to me, I don't think watching a TV show could make somebody go from being perfectly healthy you know, a non, you know, without having a mental health issue, and to having a full-blown case of depression and, you know, a severe mental health issue. I don't think that's something that can be caused by watching a Netflix original series. If, you know, these girls did have a previous history of, you know, depression, and the parents knew they were watching it and noticed a change in their behavior, the first thing they should have done is put a stop to it. Not to, you know, try and bash these parents, especially considering they did just lose somebody important in their life, but again, that would have been probably one of the first things I would have done if it were my kids. And then, of course, the last thing, you know, is if it was seriously that bad, and no matter what I was doing to try and help, I couldn't provide the help that they needed, I would have contacted a mental health professional. I would have tried to get the help that they needed, knowing that I couldn't provide for them what they needed, and would have done everything in my power as their parent to try and get them that help, to try and just help them out any way that I can. And unfortunately, I don't know the situation. Maybe they did try these things, maybe not. And one of the other bigger things in the story is, if I remember correctly, these kids were quite young. I don't even think they were older than the age of 13. Maybe they were a little bit older, but I don't think they were within the age group that this film was targeted to. I don't think they were the target demographic of this. Not like it was a target, like an ad, but I think, you know, they were basically trying to show people, you know, that people do care. Because they were showing not only, you know, the reaction of the people who were at blame for her decision, but they were also showing the reactions, if I remember correctly, like family members, their friends, their peers, people who actually cared for them, people who, you know, are deeply saddened by the fact that this girl decided to commit suicide. And I realize, you know, that in hindsight she may not have seen that, but that's one of the things that it was trying to do, is despite how she may have felt, despite how, you know, these people made her feel, she was not hated, she was not, you know, like, the world was not better off without her. There was 13 people who made her life a living hell, and probably 100 or so people, at least in this movie or in her immediate surroundings, that were deeply affected by it. There's going to be other people that are affected by it as well. People that you may have barely known, like your neighbors. Like,
the closer we get to each node, the easier
you know, you move into a neighborhood when you're really young, so you've grown up in this neighborhood. You're now, you know, you move in at 1 year of age. Your neighbors have seen you grow up from a 1-year-old child to, you know, a 16, 17, 18-year-old man, girl, or boy. And they find out that you committed suicide. And that would hurt them as well. Somebody that you may have only seen once. You know, somebody that you may have not... Oh, shit. Somebody you may have not seen in years, who you didn't even know remembered your name, will find out and be deeply upset and deeply saddened by the loss.
But there are microbursts of Seed activity all around
you deciding to end your life. And
used to be the Fallen would
I
attack
think
for resources,
that's the intention behind the show, is to show that
to invade a hive nest like this,
there are people out there who love you, who like you, who want you around. No matter how many people it may seem don't want you there, there are, like, the best way to explain it is, for every one person who makes your life a living hell, for every one person that makes your life shitty and unbearable, for every one person that bullies and picks on you until you just can't stand it anymore, there is going to be 100 people who care about you.
All right.
So yes, this girl had 13 reasons as to why she committed suicide. That means she had 1,300 people who are now hurting because of her decision. They are saddened, they are upset,
no idea what those
they
notes
miss
were,
her, they want her back. Their lives will never be the same.
Priest and whatever mad science he's cooking up down there.
That's what they would. One of the main focuses of the show was not to basically glamorize the idea of suicide. And if these girls were as young as I believe they were, you know, they shouldn't have been watching it. And if their parents knew the content of the show and knew what it was doing to them and knew that they were not the right age, they should have done something more. And that's just based off the story I've heard, is that, you know, they're blaming 13 Reasons Why as the reason their daughter's
this doesn't look good.
And
did you find the High Priest?
Honestly, I don't think that is the full story. I don't think that is the full truth. And then again, that could have just been a headline from the story. I haven't personally read the article or anything like that, but from the information I've gotten so far, this is my opinion. I don't think I know the parents are hurting, and the last thing I want to do is make their hurting and whatever. At the end of the day, I think that they should have done something in this situation. Now, if, you know, after this live stream, I'm not going to start talking about it. I am going to read it, and it may come out that I am actually dead fucking wrong. These girls were of a proper age to watch it. And these girls were, you know, their parents did do everything they could think of, everything they could possibly do to try and get these, to try and make the life of these girls better, to try and stop them from harming themselves or whatever happened to be. And I think that, you know, if that is the case, then, and no matter what they were doing, 13 Reasons Why did end up causing it, then unfortunately, that's a sad reality. I mean, there was the trigger warning, or the warning before, and everything, and the girls still went through with it. And, I don't think 13 Reasons Why should be barred, because it should be, we should. I think if it is the truth that this is what caused it, and the parents did try everything they could, whether it be through mental health services, child services, whatever it happened to be, to try and get them the best help they could provide them. I think that just goes to show you that the resources available are not enough. I don't think that, if that's the case, then it's not. The parents did everything they could. The parents are not in the wrong. Also, I don't think the show 13 Reasons Why is in the wrong. I think what would then be in the wrong is the fact that there isn't enough resources available for these people who are suffering to be able to properly deal and cope with the issues that they're experiencing. I don't know if that off. But yeah. I guess I'm gonna... Why can't that stagger you? And I hate that it taggers that it attacks the person who's doing the rest of it. Why can't my teammate doing what seems to be a great fucking job of like training this guy around continue to do so, and then I just go ahead and fuck up this guy's day?
The High Priest wasn't looking to build a hive slave army. He was just removing their body parts to be joined with Siva.
Bioengineering's become the Splicer's main MO. We're lucky to have dropped their High Priest before he can perfect any of this madness, but it's gotta make you wonder. What other perversions are they planning?
So they were both 15. I mean, I guess that's right on the cusp of the youngest age, I would have said. I would assume that if you were, I would have said 16 years of age or older would be a good age to watch this series. Not to say that there is a good age, but I would have recommended you be at least 16 or older. So they were 15, so they were, a year.
House of Devils marked you as public enemy #1 after you trashed their Prime servitor, but your old friend Sepix Prime is back.
Netflix is not
and apparently better than ever, thanks to the Devil Splicers.
That's such a
Zavala's not too happy about the idea of the Splicers playing Godmaker.
That is not that's not the truth.
So what you're saying is it's time we return to the
so many ways to end
I'm sure the Fallen
life,
will be happy to
not
see
that
us.
you should, not that you know. And regardless of what a show might say, everybody has a knows at least one way or another in which their life could end. And you know, if either that incident can happen by a freak accident, or it can be done purposely. If it's a freak accident, it's, you know, accidental death, or maybe it was a murder. But if it's, you know, done purposely, it was a suicide. And,
the Hive are still holding ground in the refinery.
I don't think this is glamorizing suicide. And I don't think it's. Oh, for fuck's sake! I'm going to strike with only one guy. I don't think this is the case. I don't think that it's you know, it's. The other people says, you really are going to tell me that showing the tragic, dramatic death of a 15-year-old girl was supposed to provide some kind of venue for discussion? Why did they say some kind of twice? I don't know, but well, because people don't realize how serious of an issue it is. And that's one of those things, is people don't care until it's either A, affecting them, or people don't care until they can see what's going on. Because it's one thing for me to say, you know, just say, like, okay, there is this, you know, there's a war going on in Syria, and innocent people are losing their homes and being displaced. It's one thing to say that and make a news story. It's another thing to actually see what's going on there. The fact that kids who are trying to go to school are having their schools bombed by the people in government in power there, like killing innocent people, throwing chemical weapons attacks on their own people, all of these horrible atrocities that are being committed. And, you know, if I were to just say, we need to accept refugees, there's a war going on, a lot of people would, you know, say, well, there's a lot of wars going on out in the world. Are we going to take refugees from all of them? But when you compare all of the different wars going on, the attacks against their own people, the crimes against humanity being committed in Syria currently in this war are absolutely and downright terrible and terrifying. And when you show these graphic depictions, these graphic things to the masses, so people can see how graphic and violent and terrifying and brutal it is for these people, once they start to see that, they start to care, you know? And I think that's basically, you know, we as humans don't get as empathetic to things unless we see them. And a lot of people might be thinking, you know, like you hear a lot about a whole lot, I've heard this plenty of times in my life from from people who are older than myself and things like that, you know, like the whole back in my day, you know, and everybody says that cyberbullying is not a thing, or that online bullying is not a thing, and their biggest argument for it, which is a load of fucking shit, is that back in their day, if there was if they were being bullied, it was physical. But nowadays, if it's online, you turn the computer off. What people don't realize is that's just an extension. You go on to your computer, you log in, and you're getting messages, death threats, all of these things. You could turn off your computer, but that doesn't stop the fact that you've just read all of these things. It's now running through your mind. You're now suffering from it. You now are psychologically wounded. You're psychologically scared. You go to school the next day and you think, are these people seriously going to kill me right here at this point? Am I going to be harmed? Am I going to be this? Am I going to be that? And you find out that now there's no escape. Usually when you were bullied physically at school and you got home, great, you could sit back and do nothing, or you could go to the arcade or wherever it happened to be and try and get away from things. basically with the access to internet that everybody has and the power that people feel behind their keyboard, basically you don't have an escape. You can't just go home, go on the computer and just dick around, because you go home, go on the computer, and you get 50 notifications of death threats or all of these things, right? And basically this graphic depiction is to try and show people who are of the mindset of, you know, oh, it's not real bullying if it happens online or things like that, or, you know, oh, blah, 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 or all of this bullying thing. Why can't you just grow up and, you know, fight for yourself, or whatever it happens to be? To all of these people who don't think suicide and mental health and all of these things are an issue, and then they see how real it is for somebody, even if it is just an actor in a, you know, in a script, they get to see that this is really what it's like for these unfortunate people who have to deal with this life of bullying, both online, in school, out of school, and just find it to be easier for them to carry on if they don't carry on. And that's why it was, you know, it's not this, you know, glorification of it being graphic. It's this, it's not supposed to be this light and fluffy topic of, you know, hey, don't commit suicide. It's this raw and uncut and very graphic and real depiction of what it's like to go through with, and what it's like to have committed suicide, and what it's like for people, and the cause and effect of all of these things that are supposed to show people who may not have believed how real of an issue it was, that, hey, this is an issue. And to try and provide that, you know, once people start realizing, hey, it's an issue, people start talking. People start saying, like, holy shit, did you see this show? Like, I didn't realize it was this bad for some of the kids, you know, out there. But, again, I don't think he got that, you know? It's like, and, you know, they want to, you know, they're saying that it has an negative impact. They want to save, you know, they want to save lives and shit like that. But I mean, like, come on. I don't think this is like, I don't even know if that's the original story. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how deep these parents went to try and find, you know, provide the help and shit that they needed. I don't know, and I'm not really gonna carry on with this because I've put too much fucking time into it on my own. But yeah, I just think that's a shitty fucking situation. Regardless of my end opinion, like, you know, oh, did they do everything they could? Regardless of that, it's gonna fucking hurt that they lost. It hurts. It's going to hurt, and it does hurt. You know, I know what it's like to lose somebody in my family. I can only imagine what it's like to lose a kid. So, I mean, I'm not gonna just bash these people, but I don't think blaming the show is the way to go. And that's just that's how I'm gonna leave it, is, you know, it's one thing to know that there's an actual reason for an issue. It's another thing to just try and find something to try and make sense of it and then blame it, because at the end of the day, if this show does more good for people than it could ever do for harm, and I think that's, I mean, only time will tell, because it just recently came out, and I think the way the media is today, it's like they find something that seems like it'll upset people or offend people, And it's just like click central. They're going to get thousands of clicks, thousands and thousands of clicks, because it's a highly debated topic, highly controversial, highly this, highly that, and they're just going to get clicks on clicks on clicks, because, you know, that's how people run nowadays. They don't give a shit about the consequences. They don't give a shit about how factual the situation is. They're posting a story because they know people are going to fucking click. And I think that, you know, not to say that this story is fake or whatever it happens to be, I just think that this, the whole situation needs to be looked into more, and I think that, there has to be more to it than just, you know, these girls just watched 13 Reasons Why and then decided, hey, I'm gonna end it because suicide is cool. I don't think that's the fucking thing that occurred, but, anyway, I'm getting too heated and too involved in something. I've never even watched the fucking show. I'm just gonna stop. Anyway. So yeah, I don't even know. I don't know how, well the audio's been. I'm gonna do some strikes. I've only been on the tower for a little bit, and I don't know how much of the audio is actually coming through from the TV. The TV might not even be picking anything up at the moment because it is kind of quiet. I'm having a little trouble hearing everything over my fucking loud ass voice. Oh, wrong buttons. So yeah, I mean, yeah. So, yeah. Ooh, I did something. I don't know what. Oh, I completed this. Get to level 50 of the Cryptarch. Isn't that what it is? Right now we're at 63. Yeah, 63. I think 63 is a little too quiet for my liking. So yeah, I'm gonna play 2 strikes, so we're gonna have the explosions and the bullets and the music and the talking between characters and shit like that. And I think after 2 more of these strikes, that's when I'm going to call it. And then I'm going to be able to go and look back through
the Taken King is dead. Yet still his armies writhe and claw at our world.
My stream.
Even as you led the assault on the Dreadnought, the powerful Taken war beast fled for the safety of the shrine
I'm sure
to
Aerith right now
Oryx.
is being picked up.
The would-be Prince Malak works to perfect a dark sorcery. He must be destroyed.
Anybody home? The door is sealed with runes. Let's get to work.
Hell is you? Just like this, I usually Don't open it before I get really good. On the off chance that somebody does actually comment something, sometimes people want to say something. Not always, sometimes. The live chat. Get to see. So, to the person who is currently viewing, and comment something. Hello, other viewer. Thrall and that wizard all in one blow. Why was that your... When I get any goofy an upgrade, because to me that thing is just fucking humongous. I need something I can fit in my hand comfortably while taking a dump.
The Taken exude blight wherever they go. Just one of the agonies of their existence. Malak has begun to control that blight, empowering it at his command.
So,
now we know.
I don't think, aside from that one time, and use for the larger screen. But the main reason why I'm not going to go for the iPhone 7 is the removal of the headphones. I love how they made it water resistant and how the tests actually seem to be, the tests that have been done on it seem to actually lean to more towards waterproof up to, you know, fairly decent distance. However, regardless of how water resistant that thing the device may be, I do believe that, you know, the removal of the headphones has kind of played a large role in making it watertight, water resistant. And, you know, one of the big arguments against that being the reason that they removed it is that, you know, well, oh, Samsung had a device that had water resistant up to a certain, up to a certain depth or a certain distance or whatever it happened to be after a certain amount of time, and they had a headphone jack. But one of the things I've noticed on every test where people are comparing the two, they put them in a container that has holes in it or whatever, drop it into a body of water, whether it be an ocean or just leave it in a fucking tube of water, simulating different depths or using science and shit that I would never understand. And has proved that, although both are rated the same rating, that where the Samsung gives out and compared to when the iPhone gives out is a huge difference. And the main reason why there's a huge difference is because so far the only test I've seen that really
the taken power twists,
I believe
shapes.
They tied a rope to
the average thrall does not live long enough to see its frame reformed. Malak has lived with this power for many, many years. His hideous skin is a sign of his age.
And I think the maximum depth of the rope before, they had no more rope left was, I believe, 35 or 40 feet. So they put this thing off the edge of the sea. I mean, this isn't like clean, chlorinated water. This is like disgusting, fine water that, fish, fish, and shit in. You find garbage and stuff in the waters and shit like that. Constantly clean. You drink it, you probably get 12 different viruses, 14 different STDs, that type of thing. And the iPhone made it survived. I think each test they put it in at, and they left it under the water for a total of 10 minutes. So for 10 minutes at 35 feet, the iPhone survived, and the Samsung died much before that. And you notice that, when you squeeze the phone, since the back doesn't come off anymore, on that one, that was how they decided to make it last week, is to make the back attached, so there was no slide on something, or you could change the battery, or upgrade the memory on that one, and maybe the walls could be something and thus, when they squeezed it around the camera,
Beware, Guardian.
Water would
the blight will drain your strength,
housing,
your speed.
And water would also seep out
not let Malak dominate this shrine.
So, I mean, yeah, it was water resistant up to a certain depth, but for a certain distance at the time. But, to me, if you would have dropped that in a pool of water, dive in to try and grab it and pull it back up, I would be doubtful that it would survive at least 100% unscathed. I wouldn't just then go back to using it. I'd still put it in my phone. However, I also believe that, for me, I do want to plugging in headphones and, having the ear pods, as much as they would be nice, especially working in, auto garage, where, you can put one of those in so that way you can still hear, but then you don't have all the cords dangling that can get caught in moving parts or in your hand. It's so good. Much as I would have bought earpods from that, having earpods full day, all day, and every day pair of headphones. If I'm riding home on the bus, I'm more than happy to use my headphones. In an environment where having a cord goes on the way, really having the way to do, because at the end of the day, now that's silly code you gotta change. Oh shit, your headphones are down, the phone, you got the bed, the dongle, it's great if you're going to use it for that, but here's my issue, is now you just use it for that, but fuck, now you can't charge something else. The whole option now is, for some people to get a car and then they put a phone on it, Yeah. I am. No. No. He does. He does.
Taken back the shrine from the Taken that so they took through taking.
Yeah, so
without Malak to channel Taken energy here, the blight will abate, and Oryx's shrine will quiet. That is my dream, Guardian. That one day the moon will lie dead and still, like the tomb it is.
Like the way I'm thinking of is back in my day, when I was a child, and there was a school trip or whatever, and it was like, yeah, you and your friends can go ahead and fucking listen to music on the bus and shit. And it's like, oh, cool. So then you and your friend go to listen to music on the bus, and oh shit, there's only one headphone jack. What do? Now you're fucked. Well, they sold this thing that you could use. That basically, it was like a headphone splitter, so you would plug your this thing into your headphone jack, and now you had two other jacks for two different pairs of headphones. So you and your friend were just sharing one earbud each, but then you guys just can't jam out. So then you get this thing, you both have your own set of headphones, you both listen, there's no awkwardly like basically hugging each other, so that way, you hit a bump and one person doesn't have their earbud ripped out of their ear and shit like that. So to me, I think having something similar to that would be good, where it's basically
whether we wanted it or not, we've stepped into a war with a cabal on Mars. So let's get to taking out their command, one by one. Valis Ta'aris. From what I can gather, he commands the siege dancers from an Imperial land tank outside of Rubicon. He's well protected. But with the right team, we can punch through those defenses, take this beast out, and break their grip on freedom.
Oh yeah, so yeah, it's like the dongle that they were
Let's
talking
find
about.
access to their system.
Like the Apple.
See if we can track down Valis Ta'ar.
The Apple thing. Like the actual Apple thing, the lightning connector, plugs in, and then that has two things that comes off. One would be like your normal headphone jack looking thing, and then the other one would be an adapter or something that you could plug on the lightning thing. I don't know what the possibility of that is, and it working. You know, I think it would that would change my mind. If that were the case, I probably would have gotten it, considering Donkey does come with the phone. But you know, not having something like that, or maybe it not being able to work like that, to me, I would rather forego the waterproof and shit like that and just deal with it. But in all honesty, what time is it? Fuck. I've been streaming for just over an hour. Yeah, I think I'm gonna end it here, guys, unfortunately. I'm going on a ramble fest, and I'm honestly kind of getting tired, and I still gotta make myself some food, so I'm gonna call it here. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. If you enjoyed, don't forget to leave a like, favorite, comment, subscribe. Do what you gotta do, show a little love, believe me, guys. It helps me out a bunch. And yeah, see you next time I stream. So, guys.